Wednesday, February 2nd through Sunday, February 6th. So on Wednesday the 2nd, I started off here in the office in the morning and then flew to California in the afternoon. In the morning, I did the Teresa Tomeo show after our usual administrative calls, did the staff briefing, taped in the studio for some evening programming, worked on EWTN programs that are coming up, worked on finalizing the pastoral team schedule. We have our pastoral team coming in next week for meetings all week. Finalize the March newsletter for Priests for Life and also the thank you texts for our thank you letters that go out for the month of February. Every month the wording gets updated. Had a meeting with Janet, had an 11:30 meeting with our data team, and then at 12 noon was picked up to go to the Orlando airport. In the car on the way to the airport, I had a wonderful meeting with our vice chairman over the phone and one of our key advisors in the media, and we were making plans about some new opportunities to get a whole lot of new television media, and you'll be seeing the fruits of that as the weeks go on. I got into the airport, checked in, and as I usually do, just went into the waiting area for my flight and got on my laptop and my phone and did work while I awaited boarding, and then we flew to California. I had to get a connecting flight out of LA up to Fresno. On the plane, I did more work, just being able to catch up on emails, communicate with other pro-life leaders, and I usually don't sleep on the planes unless it's a really late night flight. But so I just use it as a time to do my office in the sky. Got there. By the time I got there, was picked up. It was still an hour's ride to the hotel, and then I went to sleep. Thursday morning, February 3rd. So I'm out there in California now on Pacific time, but I still connected with my administrative staff. So got up at about 4 and got on the administrative phone call at 4:45 a.m. Pacific. Then at 5:30 a.m. our staff briefing. Then I had breakfast there in California. At 8:30, I got on the phone with Tom Glessner, the head of NIFLA, National Institute of Family and Life Advocates, and we were doing some planning for an upcoming leaders meeting. I was picked up shortly after that by the Tulare Kings Right to Life group, and I had a brunch meeting with their board and talked about pro-life progress that they are making and about my talk that was to take place in the evening. After the brunch with them, went back to my hotel room, had a 1 p.m. phone call with the key staff person for the Pro-Life Caucus of the United States Senate. And then at 2 o'clock, a meeting with the CEO of Right Side Broadcasting, and some various other phone calls, email work in between, working on things like upcoming trips, plans for a broadcast about the Silent No More campaign, and being that Thursday was the day of the National Prayer Breakfast, I sent out a press release and social media messages regarding Biden being at the prayer breakfast and how that was an abomination to God. Because you can't worship and support the shedding of innocent blood at the same time. Just read the first chapter of the prophet Isaiah about that one. Then, as the day went on, I had the evening talk with the Tulare Kings Right to Life. They rented out a theater in Visalia, California, and we had a couple of hundred people show up for a talk that I gave, an hour-long talk on the progress of the pro-life movement. So that was a great. By the way, you can hear my talks on my website, endabortion.us. We post the talks and audio and video if we have it. So that was the evening event there that I had flown out to California to speak at. The next day was my birthday, Friday, February 4th. Thank you all for the many birthday greetings that I got. But it was a day of airports and airplanes. I took all day to fly back home. I got up early and did my usual early work, again connecting in the same way with administrative staff and the staff briefing, and at 5:30 and various other phone calls before going to the airport. At the airport, various work on my laptop, flew down to LA. Then I had a long layover, so I went into the Delta Club, set up an office literally, and and did work for a few hours there in the LA airport, again communicating with staff and doing some writing and stuff like that. And then took at night the flight back from LA to Orlando, and by that time it was the evening. I just rested on that flight. I slept on the plane, and because it was going to be a short night once I got back home. Did do, however, with that work in the airport, some arrangement of interviews upcoming, a letter of recommendation for a deacon who is applying for the priesthood, and whom I've known over the years, some letters of commendation for some Eagle Scouts, approval of our product catalog for the month of March, and various other things like that on emails communicating with the staff. Flew back home. By the time I got to my office, it was 1:30 in the morning, so I went to bed. Saturday, February 5th, got up early, did work here at my desk, writing the finalization of a new prayer booklet called In the Power of His Spirit. Hopefully you have our other little handheld prayer booklets. There are 3 of them out now. This is the 4th one, In the Power of His Spirit. So I wrote the remaining prayers for that, did some edits, prepared a program for Radio Maria, prepared for our upcoming pastoral team meetings, read various birthday greetings that many of you sent me on social media, prepared for our upcoming meeting of pro-life leaders. We'll have about 60 national leaders here coming to our headquarters for a 3-day strategy meeting, prepared for the upcoming board meeting of the National Pro-Life Religious Council, of which I serve as president, did some work with our Abortion Recovery Coalition, of which we are members since we head up the largest ministry in the world for healing after abortion, Rachel's Vineyard, and also the Silent No More campaign. So that was basically work at my desk all day on a Saturday, February 5th. Sunday, February 6th, I was here in my office, started out the day finalizing the booklet In the Power of His Spirit. So I got that prayer booklet all finalized, edited, and ready to send off to our production team for the next steps. As on Saturday, I don't know if I mentioned, I did the Mass. I did the broadcast Mass. I did that on Saturday and also on Sunday. And then updated liturgical resources on our website, prepared for the upcoming National Pro-Life Religious Council board meeting, finalized our building list, as we call it. This is an ongoing list of the latest improvements to be made to our facility here at Priests for Life. Of course, our building team always keeps up on things, and then they give their final recommendations to me for review and approval. So I did some of that. Some plans for President Trump's visit to Orlando. He'll be speaking at a conference that I'm also speaking at, and made some plans in regard to that. And then in the afternoon had a very pleasant time having a birthday party organized by our executive director, and they all know how much I love seafood, so we had a seafood meal and a celebration of my birthday, so I relaxed in the afternoon and the evening before going to bed. So those were the days from February 2nd to February 6th, 2022. Thanks so much for listening to these daily diaries. I love to keep you updated. You know, my philosophy is leaders need to be an open book. They need to be transparent. They need to be accountable to you and to the movement that we serve, and of course, ultimately, to the Lord. God bless you. Thanks for listening. We'll be